What's up, everybody? Hope you are having a fabulous start to your Memorial Day weekend. It's an absolute beautiful day here in Kansas City after a week of clouds and rain. Today's sunshine has been absolutely refreshing. I spent quite a bit of time today outside trying to soak it all in as I have a very busy weekend. But I definitely wanted to jump on here real quick as I do each weekend and share a few things that I hope will bring value to you, some insight maybe, and hopefully some help to whatever you're facing in your life. And so today I wanted to talk with something that's been kind of, well, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of beating me in the face. We see in the modern day the buzzwords about the grind and the go and the 24/7, and I mean society here in America has been go for decades now. Most of the world looks at us like we've lost our minds because we never stop. We never stop expending. We never stop moving. We never stop going. The idea of actually sitting still and reflecting, or sitting still and resting, are almost foreign concepts. Now, some people get it, but a lot of people don't, myself included. I have a common tendency to run myself ragged to the point I'm completely out of it. And what happens, when you don't take care of yourself? What happens when you run out of that steam? When you can't pick up the grind? What happens when the motivation is gone and your discipline even begins to slip? Your mental strength can only take you so far. If you're not doing something to replenish it, it will give out on you eventually. Everyone has their limit. And while I'm a huge advocate of grit and mental fortitude, there are times when life simply just takes you beyond your limit. There are times that we will face more than we can bear. Life isn't always easy. It will punch you in the face, and sometimes will strip you of everything you have if you allow it. And if you don't take time to replenish yourself, you will grind yourself into the ground until you feel absolutely worthless and you're exhausted past the point of whatever grit and mental fortitude you had built for yourself. So what happens then? What happens when you've pushed yourself to that point? This is when you have to find time to rest. It's one thing to be tired. I mean, tired is not a bad thing. When you have spent yourself, maximizing your day to go to bed at night knowing that you gave your all, you had a successful day, and all you need is a good night's sleep, that's not a bad thing. And that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is when you are depleted, when you are spent, when your iron will to move forward begins to crack. Like I said, everybody has a limit. And I talk a good game most of the time of going and going and going. I run a pretty nutso schedule. But I have to be honest right now, I'm pretty depleted. I'm spent. Some days the idea of taking on another obligation literally pains me. And it could be something as simple as getting up to get groceries. I mean, to add that into my day's routine. I sometimes get to the point where I'm so much on autopilot for a lot of things to simply get them done that the idea of putting something else in there it really does. It stresses me out. So what's the answer when you get to that point? Well, I think Jesus puts it best because it came back to mind to me today. In Matthew 11:28-30, he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Dennis, what are you talking about here? I said, well, if you stop and look inside, deep down, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know those days where it's just like one more thing and you're just simply going to lose it. When you are past the point of sanity. You're beyond exhaustion from trying to better yourself, from trying to better those around you, to the point that you're wanting to control every single aspect of your day at a level that would make the most OCD person in the world blush. Your intentions are good, though. You love folks so much that you want what's best for them. You work tirelessly to make that happen for you, for them, heck, for everybody. But I want to let you on a little secret that's been, like I said, pounding me in the face the last few days. You cannot do it all. You are just as Jesus describes, weary and burdened. You feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and no one understands what you're going through because, well, how could they? I mean, you never have time to share your heart. You never have the time to bond with anyone, to share the journey. You're constantly moving, shucking, jiving, adjusting, controlling, all in a sincere effort, good-hearted effort to improve your current status. But there comes a point where you have to take and follow the advice and just come to Jesus. He said he would give us rest. He reminds us to take his burden and learn from him. And as we learn from him, we'll find the rest that we desperately need for our souls. How do we do that? So glad you asked. Now, I'm beginning to see that I think this rest that Jesus provides manifests itself differently for each of us. I don't think what works for me may work for you. Everybody has their own thing that helps them recharge, to replenish. But I do want to provide a couple of principles that I think are common, and I think that would address everyone. And then all the little details you can add in on your own. Number one, what is Jesus' burden that he refers to here? I think ultimately this is to fulfill God's plan. Number one, to love God. And two, to love people as we love ourselves. The two greatest commandments he set himself in red. The truth is, you can't give from an empty cup. If you are not taking the time to love God and refresh yourself, you will soon become less than useful to everyone, including yourself. So in a practical sense, this takes form in a lot of ways. Time in the Bible is one way. Time in prayer is another. Time in praise and worship or communion with God. We can't learn from him if we're not spending time with him. We can't be refreshed by him if we're not coming to him and laying aside all of our busyness to simply be still at his feet. Something I didn't even put in the notes but just hit me. Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, there's a story in the New Testament where, Martha is busy, hustling and bustling, trying to make everybody happy and make sure everybody's served with food and da-da-da-da-da while Jesus is teaching. And Mary puts all that aside and just simply sits at his feet and listens to the teaching he is giving while they're at their place. And Martha, I tend to relate, I think, more to her because I'm the busy fella, the busy person. Martha goes to Jesus and says, why don't you tell her to get up and help me, for crying out loud? And Jesus is like, no. She's chosen the better path here. I'm not going to take that from her. And there's a lesson there. There are times you just got to sit still and spend time with him. As we grow closer to God, his love then refills and refreshes us, and it brings our soul the rest that we need so that we can move forward and then better love others. Sometimes it just is a matter of getting still. The go is necessary at points, but you can't do that indefinitely. At some point, you have to stop and get still. Number two, I believe to learn from Jesus is, again, of course, time in his word, but also to follow Romans 12:1 and 2, to be a living sacrifice and to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We sacrifice our egos so that Jesus can better shine through us. Our living sacrifice is to put the ego aside, to die to the idea that we can control it all, that we can do everything. That is the most absurd thing in the world. And I look at myself in the mirror when I say this because I am notoriously guilty of thinking I can control it all. Uh, oh, ye of little wisdom. I have to remind myself, I can't control it all. To think so is literally absurd. We are not that powerful. You cannot control every single moment of your day. Life is simply beyond your control. To think otherwise is to really be prideful. And that part of your ego does need to die. It needs to go away. As our egos die, we realize we can't control every single moment. We are not, again, that powerful. We die to the truth that we're in control, or the idea that we're in control, and we submit to the truth that God is in control. And there's simply a lot of things that just is not in ours. Period. Practically speaking, the best way to renew your mind is to humble yourself, as James and Peter both remind us later in the New Testament. Realize you can't control everything, but instead focus on what you can control. You. In my case, me. I can control my reactions to things. I can control how I take care of my body. I only get one. So, am I exercising? Am I eating better foods? Or am I reading and doing things that are forcing me to actively learn and grow? Am I taking up disciplines to hone my mental strength? See, these are my controllables. These are your controllables. Nothing else. I also believe, number 3, that another key component to this rest is to simply follow the command in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I don't know why my phone keeps trying to black out, but it's really aggravating me lately. I don't know why Instagram, it didn't used to do that. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's to simply follow the command of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and with all you are. And stop leaning on your own understanding or your own way of doing things. Again, you can't control it all. I can't control it all. But man, he's been doing it pretty successfully for millennia. Let him. Let go. And while you work on your controllables, trust God for the outcome. He expects us to trust the process, to put in the work that we can do, and to just let him hold us. Instead of me or you trying to hold on to everything else that we should have let go of years ago. I mean, who are we fooling here? Hebrews reminds us to set aside every weight. And I think, this is the idea of our need to control things. I think this is our past guilts, our hurts. This is stuff we can't control. Let it go. As the old saying goes, let go and let God. I think those are 3 basic common principles that will, kind of set your foundation, and then you can fill in the blanks to how else you find that rest. But it's got to start in God. There's no doubt about it. I didn't intend to turn this into 3 points, but it sure worked out that way. Sometimes we look for a complicated method or strategy too quick, and we dismiss what's simple and what seems to be mundane. I'll be taking these principles to heart too, as this is a solemn reminder for myself. And like I said, I feel depleted as of late. One of the reasons I enjoy walking outside for my outdoor cardio, which I did extensively here just before I came in to do this, is because I can put on praise and worship off my one playlist that I have, and I make a conscious effort to just get lost in God while I'm trying to improve my body. And it does help me clear my mind and ease my heart. So I pray that you found value in these points. Take some quiet time and go after God so that he can give you the rest you desperately need. Let him refill you. And if you've never had a relationship with God, let him fill you for the first time. I promise your life won't ever be the same. I would definitely pray with you about that if you'd let me know. Lord Jesus, I pray that you would help us slow down when we get depleted and come to you as you so lovingly told us to. Let us find you in the quiet moment, and I pray that we would release our burdens and our need to control. Just let go and let you have it. Let us instead cling to your love and to your goodness so that you can flood us with your rest and with your strength. Amen. Be blessed. Have a great rest of your weekend. Please do not forget. And the reason we have this long weekend that we celebrate it is not for the sake of ruffles and brats or beer if you drink it. Time at the lake. It's to honor those who gave us that ability to do that on this weekend. So much love and respect and gratitude to those who have fallen to provide the freedoms that we have today. Love you guys. Be blessed.